You know what I mean?
You actually sparked another question, right?
Yeah.
This is a little controversial question. Don't be shy. Let's keep it a buck. So how do you feel like, right, women in media today, right, impact the young women growing up, right? So specifically like...
I know where you're going with this.
Specifically like, and I'm going to share my viewpoint first.
Yeah.
Like Sexy Red.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's just like, what is she teaching our young black woman? You know, like, that's what I see. That's who's getting millions of followers. That's what I desire to be now, right? Like, you know what I'm saying? It's just like, how do you think, like, how do you feel about that?
I feel that it's our job as a nation or a job as adults rather, that live in a free nation, to give people permission to be who they are. I think it's important for us to teach our children discernment. And I think it's important for us to not offer that because one person shows up one way that they define an entire group. I think that's more damaging. I don't want my child to believe, even at her highest self, that she represents all black women. Even as, you know, like doing all the great things that black women do. Like, that's not black womanhood in its entirety. Like, it's okay to be mediocre. It's okay to fail. Like, I think it works both ways. I think as much as we, you know, diminish folks that don't show up the way we want to, it also is dehumanizing to put black women on a pedestal and say, this is what black womanhood is. Because then when you don't feel like you measure up, you feel like you don't belong. You feel like you're unworthy, right? And I think the goal is to just create a world where people can be their authentic selves.
Yeah.
We're not a monolith.
I mean, okay, I agree. And for the people that don't know what a monolith is, that just means that we're not one all group and do the same things.
Yeah.
Right? But similar to how you say your work is to make sure that young black girls see a representation of themselves, you know, growing up in textbooks and things like that, right? So it's just like, now what if I grow up in a community where I only see my mom working hard, my mom being mistreated by men, like I see everything negative, right? And then when I go on TV, that's my representation.
It's not though, because you also have Michelle Obama, and you also have like you, and you also have, right? You know what I mean? Like,
but it's just like, what if I don't see, like, I know Michelle Obama, but Michelle Obama is not what's cool in my community, right? So like, I feel like that's the story that's not told a lot of times. Like, yeah, we have different people that do different things, but imagine if like one thing is being pushed more than that other thing. I feel like that's where the problem is happening.
See, I think that we can't pathologize our communities like that. And what I mean by pathologize is like, for instance, let me just give an example and I'll keep this quick. Folks will often go to black and brown communities and say, black and brown kids need to learn how to put on ties. Because if they don't, they're never going to learn how to get a job. Conversely, I go to white neighborhoods. I never see the same pressure to teach little white boys how to put on ties. And folks just magically imagine that they'll be able to grow up and get jobs, which they do, right? The pathology is that like black folks need extra help learning how to be like decent human beings. We don't. Like, just because it's in front of us doesn't mean we're just going to digest it wholly and completely. We have the mental ability to say, okay, I agree with this, I don't, right? Like, we're not just going to take, yeah, we do. I think we do. I don't think that we, okay. I don't think that we don't. I think that sometimes it's just that things are programmed. Like, the reason why I don't have to go to a white neighborhood is because they don't put certain things in those white neighborhoods that they put in our neighborhoods. You know what I'm saying? Like, some things are put like systemically to distract us, to destroy our neighborhoods, to destroy our young black men and women growing up. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's where the problem happens. Is that like, it's not fair. I hear you, and I still think that the focus should not be on what it is that we don't want to amplify. Like, we just have to keep redirecting. If we don't want our energy here, we have to redirect.
Yes, I agree. I agree, but you know what I mean? I agree, but I think that's when that's also when the conversation goes into what we're putting our money into as well. Because I think when, you know,
is it we putting our money?
That's where I'm about to go, right? I feel like, you know, we're not in control. We don't own the things that are putting the money towards like what's funded for us. And I feel like that's really like some of the major issues. And I think that's why, like, I commend you. Like, entrepreneurship is so important because now like I own my company, I own my business, I own what I do. So now it's just like I can make those choices on what I choose to spend my money on. I can make those choices on what I choose to represent. I can make those choices on what I choose to go on my platform versus when you kind of bought, which is a lot of black organizations and stuff like that kind of bought. Now it's like dang, I gotta pick what I post on here. I can't say something about this comment, or you know what I'm saying? And I think I think that's where like some of the issues really, you know, like that's really I don't know.
You feel like you want better for us.
Yes.
What's good, y'all? Are y'all having a hard time starting conversations in large rooms? Do you need to find more effective ways to draw attention to yourself without wearing a fancy outfit? I figured out a hack. You need some Financial Revolution merch. Everything is a staple piece that represents black wealth. You are what you wear, so make sure you join the rest of the billionaires and get some FR merch. We have hoodies, sweatsuits, t-shirts, and much more. Make sure you visit www.financialrevolutionn.com and use code podcast for a special 10% off. Again, go to www.financialrevolutionn.com and use code podcast for a special 10% off. Let's get it, y'all.
I definitely agree with you with what you're saying. I think like, you know, we just need more of us with the money. We need more of us in ownership. We need more of us having a seat at the table to have these conversations to really make change. So like I think that's just what it is.
Yeah.